Welcome to the archive. My name is Jason, the archivist adrift, and I thought that today I'd talk about a topic that I would have found interesting a couple of years ago when I first started getting into Golden Age comic books. I'd been collecting for 30 years before then, off and on, and in my mind, Golden Age was just unobtainable. It was something I couldn't ever even think about getting into because the cost would just be too much. And when Superman 1 sells for nearly $10 million, it kind of reinforces that view in, I think, a lot of people's minds. But I just want to say today that that doesn't have to be the case, that isn't the case. You can get into Golden Age comics at almost any price point, and not even like goofy romance or westerns or kids books or things like that. Like actual really good comics, you can jump right in and grab some really cool titles. I think part of the problem with collecting Golden Age is that because there's this view that they're so expensive that a lot of people don't even know what's out there, and so you don't really even know where to start as far as collecting what is considered collectible, what it's worth your money, and of course people don't want to waste their money on books that might not be worth anything. So 2 or 3 years ago, I started watching videos like Jerry the Jitterbug's channel and Alan the Comic Book Collector Geek, and I found that they were picking up books for prices that I just didn't think were possible. I was really surprised that they could grab these books for like $50, $100, something like that. So I thought I'd put together my own list to help people out of 17 titles that I think that anyone can probably afford, that you can get today on my comic shop. And I just checked all the prices. Just make sure that you can go out there and grab them. If you don't grab them, I might eventually grab them because I don't have these books, or at least I don't have all of them. And I actually ranked them in tiers. So at the top, I started at $200, then $100, and then around $50. And I figured that those are price points that pretty much anyone could get into without getting, freaking out about spending too much money. Of course, once you go higher than that, especially once you get into the $300 range and then up, you unlock a lot more opportunities to get some really cool books. But like I said, you can get some really cool books right from here. So I'm going to stop babbling about it and show you the books that I picked out, and maybe you'll find something that you like. So right off the bat, I'm going pretty hard here with Planet Comics. In my opinion, and I think also in a lot of collectors' opinions, some of the best covers out there in all of the Golden Age. It's mostly good girl art with sci-fi themes, so really cool looking books. So this is the first tier, which is 200, around the $200 range, 200 and under, essentially. I decided to go for this Planet Comics number 49, which I think has a wonderful cover. And my comic shop has a couple of lower grade issues, like this 1.5 for $250, which I think presents fairly nicely. Now all these books are going to be a little bit beaten up, but the thing about the Golden Age is that unlike Silver and above, condition is not as important because we're pretty fortunate that these books even survived to begin with. Unlike modern books and even the Silver Age, there are thousands and thousands of copies of Amazing Fantasy number 15 that exist in the world. But that's not necessarily the case with Planet Comics. There might be a couple hundred of issue number 49 that are known to exist in the world. And so because of that rarity, the condition doesn't matter as much to most Golden Age collectors. Now, that's not necessarily always the case. There are definitely your Golden Age collectors who are only looking at condition. But for a lot of collectors, a lower condition book isn't always a deal breaker. So anyhow, back to this issue, we have we have a copy of .5. Now, my comic shop's .5 is sometimes a normal grader's 1.0 or 1.5 perhaps. But this copy is going for $200. The interior is complete. The issue is that it's got a full-length spine split, and that's not bad for a book that presents really well, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's a really great looking cover. And yeah, again, if you guys don't pick up these books, I am. And Planet Comics, they had Joe Doolin working for them. Joe Doolin was an amazing artist. I think it's a great cover. So yeah, for $200, you can jump right into the Golden Age with a big book. All right, next up is Weird Science Fantasy. Now, Weird Science Fantasy was an EC book that was at the tail end of the Golden Age when Weird Science and Weird Fantasy were kind of combined into one book called Weird Science Fantasy. And we have a cover here by the great Wally Wood, and it's a pretty famous cover of space people in bubble helmets, fighting off alien monsters, and it doesn't get more EC and weird and sciencey than this. And you can get a 3.0 for $250. But for there's a 1.5 here, which presents even better in my opinion. For $200, and it's got a spine split again, 5-inch spine split, some cover oxidation, but again, not a bad deal. And my comic shop has this really great feature here where you can make offers to books that are on consignment. The next book I had in mind was Cave Girl by Magazine Enterprises. Magazine Enterprises worked with some of the greatest artists of the Golden Age during the late 40s and 50s, in my opinion, including Bob Powell and Frank Frazetta. And Cave Girl is a book that's just highly underrated, but the covers are phenomenal. Artwork by Bob Powell. And here we have Cave Girl number 11. I think the numbering starts off weird. I don't think this... let's see. Yeah, 11 is actually number 1. So often in the Golden Age, they would renumber books so that they didn't have to pay postal. K-Girl number 1, which is K-Girl number 11, 2.0 for $140, and it looks great. I mean, it's got some issues down here on the corner, but overall it presents really well. Then we got 12, which is a great looking copy, and this is $120 for a 3.5, and look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous book. I think I have this one. Otherwise, I would have snagged this already. But yeah, just another example. Next up, I have Sensation Comics. This is Wonder Woman's other comic book, other than her self-titled book. And for whatever reason, they're not that expensive. And what's strange about it is it's got some of the best artwork in the Golden Age, in my opinion. H.G. Peter, Harry G. Peter, he was the one who did all the covers for the most part during the 40s. And his work was done in a very like Art Nouveau sort of style. I think maybe he was trying to kind of emulate sort of a Romanesque or Greek-ish look or something. But here we have a book, a 1.5. It's just a wicked cool looking cover for $230. And of the two books, of the two titles, Wonder Woman and Sensation Comics, I think Sensation has some of the better covers. All right, here we go. I have a couple of copies of this actually. I love this book. And again, it's got a lot of damage to the book, but most of the covers here, and it's just fantastic. It just looks really, really great. There were some other books here that I thought looked really great. Oh yeah, this is great. This haunted house issue, or it's just really, really awesome looking. 140 for that. Again, interior's all complete on these. They have full length spine split, but if you really want your books fixed up, you could go to someone like Kenny Sanderson, or you could go to Phil at Phantom Restoration. Oh yeah, look at this one. Oh man, this is such a cool cover. And there's an eBay listing here, 229. Man, that is a great price. Yeah, it's got a rip out of the top here, but otherwise, it presents really, really nice, and it's such a cool looking book. Next up is again in the $200 range here, Terrors of the Jungle. This is a book that was done by L.B. Cole for his Star publications, and there are some amazing books. L.B. Cole is among one of the top two or three major Golden Age artists, the artists that everyone's trying to collect. Probably be L.B. Cole, Alex Schomburg, probably Matt Baker. You'd probably throw in someone like Lou Fine or a few others. But L.B. Cole, he's known for his hyper colored, almost psychedelic looking comic book covers. And Terrors of the Jungle is just, for some reason, a lot of these books are just, they're affordable. Here's a 1.8. And look at that cover. Look at those colors. Just a beautiful book. Looks like the issues here, it has extra staples from the manufacturer. That's it. This is higher than a 1.8. This is probably like a 2.25. But my comic shop always grades on a curve. They grade under, that is. They underestimate their books so that people feel like they get a bargain when they pick them up. Just really, really cool books. This book here, $250 for this. You could probably talk them down to $200. Anyhow, next up. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our $100 tier with Weird Science. Going back to EC, and the great thing about EC books, especially the Weird Science and Weird Fantasy books and some of the horror books, is that, man, the covers are fantastic, and they're very often affordable. There's still plenty of these around. Now they're not as common as Silver Age books. You're looking at, a few hundred in the world rather than a few thousand. So I picked a really cool issue here. This is issue number 5. A really cool cover by Al Feldstein. And this one's a little beat up, but, for $105, you could do worse. If you pay a little bit more, $150, you get something that looks a little nicer. If you look around, especially on eBay, you'll find Weird Science books that very often go from between $75 to $150. And the covers are just amazing. So check out Weird Science. Also in the $100 range, like Weird Science, we have Weird Fantasy. And I really, really love this cover. But look at here. We have, for $90, we have this 1.0 of this fantastic book. I actually have a copy of this. I think I have a restored copy of this. $89 for this. What's going on with this? It has an 8-inch spine split, covers detached, some oxidation. $90, and you can make an offer for Weird Fantasy. I mean, look at this. This is so cool. This is a cover work by Joe Orlando, who is one of the big artists of EC. All right, next up we have Ibis. This is a interesting book. Ibis the Invincible is by Fawcett Comics, the same company that did Captain Marvel comics and Wiz comics. For some reason, people are sleeping on Ibis, and I don't know why. The covers on all these books are fantastic. They're full of adventure and fantasy and mostly like horror themes. So for 250, we have this copy here, and look at this. It's a horror comic by Fawcett, the same people who did Captain Marvel or Shazam. And this is a 3.0. The only issue is it's 2-inch spine split, but who cares at this price point? But I had this actually in my cart because if someone doesn't grab this, I'm going to grab it. For $130. What is this? A 1.8? A 1.0? It's got a 6-inch spine split. Covers detached. That's it. Look at this cover though. That is so cool. This came out in 1948. So yeah, get on this before I buy it, because I can't afford to buy any more comics right now. All right, speaking of Captain Marvel, we've got Wiz Comics, and someone's got to buy this book because I'm going to if they don't. But I don't really care for a lot of the Captain Marvel books because they're a little too kiddie. But there are 2 issues here. This issue number 51 and this issue number 52. There are a few other issues scattered throughout Wiz and the other books that he's in that I think are really neat. But this one in particular, let me show you the scan here for the 160. It's essentially a horror comic, a horror issue. I got the skull in the front here. We have this old lady turning into a beautiful woman, going through this doorway of beauty. And Captain Marvel's trying to stop this villain from chasing her, perhaps. I don't know. But beautiful, beautiful book. And it is a 3.5 going for $160. And you can make an offer. But even better, we have this 1.0 for $60. $60. Wow, that's great. What a bargain. So somebody buy this before I do. Cover art by CC Beck. CC Beck did all the early Captain Marvel, Shazam comics. So it was just a really great looking book. But the one below is really neat too. This one is, so we got one for $150, and it's basically him knocking these crooks into like this some sort of electrical thing here and zapping them, and pretty violent for Captain Marvel. Good dude's got a gun here, and another guy's got a knife. And we got that crazy little mad scientist. I can't remember his name, but yeah. And then we have another one here, a 3.0 for $125. You can afford $125 for a beautiful Golden Age book. All right, next up. Oh, man, this is so cool. Again, this is in my cart, and I'm going to spend the money if someone else doesn't stop me and grab it out of my cart. But Black Cat Mystery. Black Cat Mystery is a continuation of Black Cat comics. It went into a Western for a little bit, and then they went into horror when horror got really big in the 50s. And this is kind of an iconic cover of this weird-looking dude crawling through some little dungeon or something like that. I don't know what's going on here, but it's freaky and it's weird. And sometimes this book goes for big money, sometimes it doesn't. But this is the same Black Cat mystery comics that has that issue with the dude's face melting off. When he's trying to smoke uranium or whatever. $114 for a 3.0. Wow, that's great. Yeah, here's the so here's one that's not as cheap as the other. Here's a 0.5 for $5,500, but which is still probably a bargain for this book. This book often comes up for a pretty good bargain as well, and it's such a great cover. I don't have this. I need to get it. Every time I see it, I just kind of let it go. But here's one for $126. Wow. Split spine, but Anyhow, all right, still in the $100 range, we've got Chamber of Chills. Again, another huge horror title. This is the title that's got the famous Misfits girl with the skeleton hand holding up the glass with her face in it. And now that one's not cheap, but if we go further up in the series here, for such a prestigious horror title, these are not that bad, as far as price wise. $400, $314. But I wanted to come down here. Here we have $150 for was it a 1.5? Crazy cover of a woman kind of tied up in some weird dude's basement as he's making miniature people and all kinds of weird stuff going on here. Another one that's in my cart. If you guys don't grab it, I'm going to grab it. Look at this. This is another Leah Elias cover. Oh, super cool. And they want $160 or best offer for a 0.5. Interior is complete, full-length spine split, and a little bit of oxidation. But worth the $160 in my opinion. All right, next up. Oh, this is great. Adventures into Weird Worlds. This is by Atlas, but Atlas was actually just another name for Marvel. It's what they became after they were done with Timely, and a lot of their books are really, really affordable. People just sleep on them, and those who know. But look at this book, $120 for a 2.5. And I don't know if you can make out this cover here, but oops. Oh, it's just a badass looking cover. What else we have here? This is a pretty famous cover. $130 for a 2.5. Oh, this is fantastic here. Covered by Bill Everett, Headless Knight. And this kind of mirrors another book in the same series by Joe Manili. Pretty sure that Alan shows off this book pretty often, but it's a really great one. And what's $170 for 3.0. Let's see, we've got a couple on eBay as well. One for $80. A 2.0 for $80. Must have sold already. Anyhow, they're out there, guys. Here's a book I own. This is the Manili cover. Very cool. But this one's $250. 4.0. It's a little bit more pricey. Now I want to get to the cheapest books. These are books for around the $50 range or less. Straight Arrow is a book that I think is heavily slept on. Straight Arrow is a Western about an American Indian, and the covers are done by generally by Bob Powell. Again, Magazine Enterprises. Amazing covers. You can get issue number 1 right here for $50, 1.8. I don't know if Westerns will ever pop off, but I feel like if they ever do, it'll be the American Indian covers, Native American covers, because they're just so unique and interesting looking. Let's see if I can find some other cheap ones here. Here's issue number 5, a 5.0 for $45. Great cover. But there's some even better covers down here. This one, wow, $8 or $12 for that? $12. Look at this cover. Let me see what the scan looks like. Wow, $12. And they got one for $8 as well. Anyone can pick up this book. 7.0 for $150. I mean, that's not bad. I love these black covers. $17 for this 2.0. Look at that. That's great. I love this cover. So we got a 4.0 for $28. Oops, I'm gonna keep it in my cart. Uh, Look at that. I think I have a copy of this, but I'll have a second one if no one pulls this one out. But the woman in a red dress theme, kind of done American Indian style. So cool. Yeah, Straight Arrow is just a really great title with a lot of great covers. Next up, we have Blackhawk. Blackhawk is now under DC, but before that, they were with Quality. I don't find all the Blackhawk covers all that interesting, but there's a couple of things going for this tile. One, it's they're extremely cheap or affordable, that is. And I think I heard a rumor about Steven Spielberg looking to make a Blackhawk movie, or maybe he was attached to it at one point. I can't see him doing any sort of superhero type DC film today, but who knows? But it's not out of the question, at any rate, that a Blackhawk film could get made at some point, and so that might increase the value of some of these books. This is a great looking book. Robot covers, you can't go wrong with them. Really cool looking. And they want $60 for this 2.0. I think that's about right. What's this? Oh wow, check this out. Kind of getting into that horror territory a little bit without kind of getting into it too much. Reed Crandall, he ended up working for EC. Oh, here's another one, $32. Look at that. What a cover. Next up. That's wild. Adventures into the Unknown. This is a book by ACG. ACG was secretly owned by, in a way, DC, or at least the president of DC at the time. They don't get the recognition that they deserve, I think, sometimes, but they have some really cool covers in the Golden Age. A lot of great horror stuff. Artwork here is by Ogden Whitney, but they also have work by Ken Bald. And so here's a cool one, $80 for this really crazy monster cover. That's great. Adventures into the Unknown, number 15 from 1948. Early pre-code horror. One that Rich might like. For $50, got a really cool Frankenstein book. Rich of Big Nasty Comics. He's into a lot of these Frankenstein books. But here's one for $60. What else do we have here? This is a pretty cool, jumping back up to the $100 range a little bit for this one, but still very, very nice. $41 for this like Cthulhu looking creature. I actually have a copy of this, a little bit better condition, but so if you're into, H.P. Lovecraft, this is the book for you. Okay, next up, Super Magician Comics by Street and Smith. This is a book that just, it constantly goes under the radar. People just don't ever really pay attention to it. But it's got some really cool covers. And here's an example of one. This is Volume 1, Number 9. And look at that cover. That is wicked. So Blackstone the Magician, escaping in an Iron Maiden or something. And, it's a 2.0 for $50. What a great book. This one's pretty cool, though, for $70. Look at that cover. Wow. That's great. And you got that giant bonnet stamped in the middle of it. these stamps don't devalue the book at all. Just kind of in the way sometimes. Great book, a 4.5 for $70. Another one that if you guys don't grab, I will. Yeah, so check out Super Magician. What's this one? That's cool. All right, and the last one I had here was Real Life Comics. It's almost kind of a joke that if you want to find really, really cheap Alex Schomburg, you look up Nidor, and specifically Real Life Comics. Alex Schomburg is probably the greatest Golden Age comic book artist, or the most desired artist of the era, and for good reason. He worked for Timely. He did a lot of those wild-looking Submariner and the Human Torch books, and he worked for a company called Nidor, where he worked on the Black Terror and the Fighting Yank. But he also worked on this title on Nidor called Real Life Comics, where it was just basically stories of real individuals or famous individuals, and they all go for really cheap right now. But I don't think that's always going to be the case. So for instance, here we got for $45. I got this like mythical Liberty, woman of Liberty, but you got these. I can't read the names here of who these people are. It looks like Wilson here and Mitchell. But there's only one book out of this whole series that goes for ridiculous amounts of money, and it's this Hitler book. And this was in 1942. So $2,600 sounds about right for a 1.5 for that. But outside of that, you go right to the next issue, number 4 here, starring looks like Charles de Gaulle, maybe. But yeah, $48 for a 2.5. Here's one for $60. World War II era. Oh, wow. Look at that cover. Wow. Got one for 66, one for 55, 4.0. Man, that looks great. Ooh, here's one for $12. Doesn't have anything I can scan or look at the scan of it. But looks like the Manhattan Project or something like that. Yeah, atomic bomb. All right. So that's all I wanted to show you guys. If you like this video and if you want me to do more of these, just let me know. I'll put together more lists of affordable books. Man, they're out there. They're out there, and they're waiting for people to grab them. And if you don't grab them, I will. And I don't want to grab them because I already I spend too much money on comics. So yeah, if you like this, let me know in the comments. All right, thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye now.